At some point in your childhood, the sorting hat put you into two houses, Xbox or PlayStation. Were you hanging out with Master Chief and Dom from Gears of War, or were you killing your wife on God of War and playing generic racing simulator number 22? Okay, the PlayStation had a few more exclusives than that. Look, I can play racist levels on Little Big Planet. Sometimes though, the sorting hat would glitch out.
Filthy.
And your parents bought you a Nintendo console, rendering you the biggest outcast in your school. It's okay, little one. Keep playing your little Marios and your Zeldas, you nerd. While the real men produce actual tears, like playing games like Black Ops 2.
And what the fuck are you wanna be? You wanna fucking go to Michael Jackson Playhouse, you
Wait, you're telling me this game was on the Wii? Oh, shut the fuck up, you Nintendo. Somebody beat that guy with hammers. Console wars have always seemed stupid to me. Gay Station, X-Cock. Why can't we both just join forces to collectively hate one marginalized group? The Nintendo guys.
You are a worthless, friendless...
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna let you off for a little bit. I like the Wii, and I'm gonna move the goalpost so much so that everything I like about Nintendo is the correct answer. So if you also had to put your DS under your pillow at night so your dad didn't take you into the Octagon in the morning, then you're also valid. Growing up, it was a courtyard battle. PlayStation versus Xbox. The PlayStation people stuck to themselves, and the Xbox people stuck to themselves. And if you wanted to integrate into the other camp, best believe you needed some sort of hostage swap. And I think that's the most interesting thing I noticed, was how important this was to forming friendships with other people. Yeah, guys, I love Black Ops 3. I can't wait to play with you all when I get home. Oh, about that, my parents bought me a PS4 because they wanted to hear the house take off at 3 a.m.
21.
And like some Hollywood cult, I was born into a family of PS2 enjoyers. I know, listen, al-Gaid. I'm the GOAT. And then as time evolved, I had a PS3, a PS4, and so on. Hey, there were even some DSs and PSPs and Xboxes along the way. And as I mentioned, a Wii that my uncle got me after it fell off the back of a lorry in Germany.
That's who I am, you lazy cocksucker.
I guess the recession was kind to my parents. And I'll put one hand in the air and tell you I might be part of the problem. What's that? Galo? Queers of War? Oh, I bet you love not sprinting in a video game. Whilst I get to play Uncharted 3.
I'm Nathan Drake. If you're the adventurous type,
I'm gonna fucking bash you.
And The Last of Us.
So, is this everything you were hoping for?
And yeah, where does that put us now? 21 years of age, broke as fuck, with my overpriced gaming PC, sat writing this video on a train where I'm convinced the woman that is sat next to me has shit herself. Okay, so I'm sure you know where this is heading, okay? You've seen the title. How did one of the biggest rivalries in I Love Money history become such a piss walk for one company? And how did you, yes you, lose the console war? It's the turn of the new millennium, and whilst I'm still generating aura in my dad's sack and the pizza from Futurama is rotting, Sony had just released the PlayStation 2, the console that would become the highest selling console of all time, beating the likes of records broken by the Game Boy, the NES, and the previous PlayStation. The next console to release would be the GameCube, that tremendously flopped considering Nintendo's standards at the time, and that was especially emphasized by the success of the PS2. Sure, the PS1 showed that Sony were here to play, but the PlayStation 2 solidified themselves as a big player. 2001, Happy New Year, hooray, let's go. Oh, and another Premier League for my beloved Man United? I'll have that. And, someone's had a bit of a tumble, haven't they? The Xbox One released on the 15th of November, and with this came all your favorite exclusives. I'm talking AMF Bowling 2004, you know, the game where,
I thought that I was back on track, but I feel lost again.
Extreme Beach Volleyball, and a little game called Halo. I don't know if you've heard of it, it's kind of small. Now, although selling nowhere near as well as the prestigious PlayStation 2, this little bundle here was special in making Microsoft's voice heard on the gaming stage. Halo was a significant addition to a limited number of FPS games that were available on consoles, which was further propped up by a coherent multiplayer system. Xbox Live offered people to add friends and play together, something the PS2 did offer if you bought this wank network adapter.
you greedy bastard.
The Xbox was more powerful, had more storage, better online features,
You stupid...
and a video game franchise that would become one of Xbox's biggest selling points. 2005, 7/7 bombing. George Bush does not care about black people. Ignore that. And who would have guessed it? The Xbox 2 is released. The Xbox 360 released a year before the PlayStation 3, giving Microsoft a leg up that it previously didn't have. And again, they built on Xbox Live's capabilities, with Party Chat being released later, a feature responsible for many white people's college applications being set on fire. Meanwhile, PlayStation Network launched, an absolutely shite service that would would continually go down. In 2011, and trust me, I remember this, the servers were down for like a whole month. So as an apology, they gave us all PlayStation Plus for a month. Now I can pretend I was outraged, like, okay, say the line.
Fuck society.
Based Palestinian flag in bio. I hate capitalism activist that everyone knows I am. But in 2011, I was 8, and they gave us free games on PlayStation Plus. Burnout Paradise. And I like Burnout Paradise. A lot. Take me down to the paradise city where the toilets are. My Oscar, please. Okay, let me throw Wikipedia out for this one. I know I had to pretend I was there. You know, I was a coherent thinker during the PS2 and Xbox days. Yeah, I remember guys seeing this ad on TV and I was like, yes, I'm going to buy a PS2. But in this era right here, I was not learning to just add and subtract in school, okay? But also the English language.
I'm gonna jump out my car and pull your nose up.
In which I wanted to exercise when I got home from my 9 to 3. But that wasn't a thing you could do on the PS3 without everyone else in the lobby hearing your parents have a domestic.
You have made a fool of me for years with these whores. Now it's come into our home.
I don't know anything, okay, Mum, about Dad's second phone. The teenagers in the Black Ops 2 lobby are laughing at me right now. It seemed like Sony didn't really understand the concept of party chat because it was only available on the PS3 if you weren't playing a video game. On the video games console. They also encouraged me to buy a camera for these calls. I honestly think they thought that grown men were going to be doing conference calls in these chats and not, well, you know, just lads showing each other their bits. And when you're a little bambino, you're not sat there with your, you know, your Discord hoodie saying, well, the exclusives are better on the PlayStation. No, I just want to speak to my friend seamlessly and play video games. I don't want to have to get on a Skype call like I'm fucking Keemstar. And even a debate surrounding the exclusives of the consoles can be had. Do games like Halo and Gears of War, which were in their prime at this point, completely trounce games like Uncharted, God of War, Little Big Planet? I don't know, you tell me. Or is a defining feature of the PlayStation 3 the Blu-ray, where I can watch Hoodwinked in 1080p. This was Sony's first big scare, however, selling 87.4 million copies of the PlayStation 3, with Xbox just edging behind. Yep, shush, no more brain rot. So, it looks certain that Xbox had all the cards in their hands for this next generation coming up. Had the president of Xbox not been such a bell end. If you thought that Dr. Skipper's love for Luka Doncic was an unfathomable level of glazing, Don Matrick's shill for Kinect was something else. In 2011, he was Fortune magazine's smartest man in tech, and in 2012, he was CNN's top 10 brilliant visionaries. Despite of this, he fucks off from Xbox just 5 months before they were going to launch the brand new shiny Xbox One, and he does a runner to the mobile game company Zynga, father of Farmville, and that new Star Wars Hunters game. I've not played that game, so I won't comment, because my mobile phone is used for ringing up numbers I find on missing children's posters, and not video games. Don unveiled the Xbox One, stating that it always had to be online. Basically, the console didn't work unless it was connected to the internet, along with Microsoft requiring you to have a Kinect, also known as wanting to watch you get unchanged. That's right, no more peanut butter challenge with the dog. Rightfully so, pitchforks were lifted, bonfires lit, the CIA paid people to light themselves on fire. Obviously joking, and he was sworn into the press box to make his comment. Alright, just go in there, tell him you're sorry, it was a big mistake, okay? Yeah, good? So the Xbox One requires you to be connected to the internet at all times. Don't you think that's a poor choice? F*** off and just go play the Xbox 360 then, you f***ing
That was really bad.
He's gone. Jason Holtman in. Xbox roll back the Kinect bullshit. Roll back the online. They U-turned the decision that would restrict people from selling their used games. And after 6 months, he would too piss off, leaving Xbox with no other choice but to find someone else.
My mom's in. Is she mad?
But before we talk about Phil, how were PlayStation getting along? These motherfuckers were going band for band, even going as far to make promotional ads making fun of Xbox's plan to ban sharing games.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
Their console was $100 cheaper than the Xbox at launch, at $399, because they weren't trying to shill a fucking Kinect. The PS4 was also more powerful and was heavily marketed on being a gaming console, something Xbox, for some reason, wasn't doing.
TV experience. TV and movies. TV. Xbox. Watch TV. TV.
Xbox Snap TV.
Yay, I can plug in my Skybox and watch Coronation Street on the Xbox. Yippee, yay. Throughout both consoles' lifespans, it was evident who the real winner was, with a plethora of exclusives that Xbox weren't able to match, especially with the investment Sony made into the first-party developers. What was once Xbox's biggest selling point, Halo, was beginning to lose its impact on consumers, with the failures of the Master Chief Collection released in 2014 beginning a downfall on the Halo IP, which has evolved into a huge trust issue between fans and the studio. Good things did come out of the Xbox, however, and this isn't a joke. Backwards compatibility, That was actually amazing, okay? Remember Black Ops 1, day one, when it went backwards compatible? Oh my god, chef's kiss. But it did not impact sales because the PlayStation 4 absolutely hammered those bombs, selling 117 million units to Xbox One's measly 58. Microsoft was on the ropes, and Sony was on top, ready to deliver the final blow. 2020, COVID, Kim Jong-un dies, Kobe Bryant crashes into Maze Bank, and we will not try and make a joke about this. Okay, maybe just one for the road.
You have gone too far this time. You have gone so past the line.
Both companies were getting ready to release their new product into the gaming world. The PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X and S. But nobody could buy the consoles because somebody thought it would be a good idea to use people dying as an opportunity to get their money up. I am sympathetic though, because I did snipe Emiliano Salas on FIFA 19 after he died in a plane crash. The global chip shortage hit tech companies like a truck and was further impacted by the pandemic. With many people unable to work, they weren't in these factories making the chippies. And those who had other jobs outside of this working from home also desired laptops, monitors, and other hardware, ultimately raising the demand. And then there were those who just wanted a little console that meant you could load into games faster. And that's me. Hello! It was actually really difficult to get a PS5, and I still ended up getting mine off a scalper on eBay over a year after the release. My brother, however, was able to get his Series X for pretty much retail off eBay from a scalper when the console released, because nobody fucking wanted it. And that's just the harsh reality of supply and demand, because although the Series X was deemed the more powerful console and had a cheaper alternative in the Xbox Series S, Microsoft was once again hammered by Sony. And this could be down to numerous factors. How about the fact that the Xbox didn't really do anything to innovate their console and set it apart from their competitor? The PS5 had a new controller that had haptic feedback, meaning that the triggers need a certain amount of weight applied to them depending on the game you're playing and what you're doing in those games. For anyone that's broke and can't afford a PS5, look, here it is. Here's the PS5. Oh, no, not for you. This is a trigger when I'm firing a gun. Sony went on to add more to the PlayStation roster with the Portal. It's a Switch. You know what? Enough said about this. If you can't step away from your fucking TV and enjoy the great outdoors and need this, that's not my problem. And while all these innovations have gone ahead for PlayStation, Xbox have had their thumb in their ass.
Spider-Man PS4 is great. Spider-Man PS4 is detailed.
Holding onto the Game Pass as their saving grace, because they've still not given anyone a reason why they would buy this instead of a PS5, especially if you own a computer. Halo Infinite was meant to be one of the Series X's launch titles, and yet was pushed back by an entire year because it was received so negatively by the community. No, wait, they're self-aware of the meme now, it's fine. The game was also not just available on the X and S, but also the Xbox One, and the Steam store on launch. Yeah, not the shitty little Xbox app, the actual Steam store. So was there any real point in buying this console? Oh wait, hold on. Here's footage of my brain trying to muster up another Xbox exclusive. Oh yeah, Starfield. That was also on PC, and like Infinite, it was dog shit. Actually, Starfield was more than dog shit. It ruined my life. $3,000 I could have made from that fucking raid sponsor. $3 fucking grand. And now gotta ask for handouts from my friends like I'm a fucking single mother.
You fucking still going on about it?
I'm going down the list right now, and I'm still unable to find a game that is solely on the Series X and S. Like, never mind having a PC version. Okay, that's fine. But like a game that can't be on the Xbox One that isn't Starfield. Obviously, Starfield couldn't be on the Xbox One. You could barely run on the fucking Series X, which again proves my point on why anyone would buy this. And whilst the joke is that the PlayStation 5 has no games, shush, you groomed a minor. It actually does have games, like Bugsnax, and the Demon Souls remake on launch, so shush. Someone was cooking there. Look at this young boy at the time. He sounds very excited. Clearly, he is the PS5 target audience. From them, PlayStation added more games to its arsenal. God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, which is only available on PS5 currently. Sony's got it right this generation to beat Xbox, with the PS5 selling over 59 million consoles to the Xbox's 21. But just because Sony had won the battle and arguably crushing any future competition from Xbox, this isn't exactly a win for the consumer. The jump between the generations has been slowing down ever since the war between the consoles began, and this was expected to happen. This generation's major point was ray tracing and loading into games faster, whereas once it was new resolutions, bigger frame rates, more polygons, 3D games, and I don't know, don't get me on the technical side. We've established that PlayStation is the winner, but this hasn't been a win for us, because when Whether you bought a Series X and got shafted by the lack of exclusives and found yourself not playing it and going on your PC, the PlayStation 5 offers the same experience as the PS4 did. And is this just Sony being in a rut, or being so far ahead of Xbox that it simply didn't fucking matter whatever they did? We're 4 years in, and there's already talks of a new generation of consoles coming out, whilst we're still getting given Last of Us remakes priced at $69.99, and a Last of Us 2 remaster priced at 45 quid, and an abundance of PS4 games that have upgrades for the PS5. Yeah, it's great, Sony, you've got better exclusives, but are you actually going to make any fucking new ones, or just resell the same games over and over again? I got a PS4 for Christmas in 2013, and I didn't realize how lucky I was. 3 years later, I got a second-hand Xbox One for my birthday because I had more friends at school that played it, and from then on, my PS4 just started collecting dust. And I didn't want to use it because it sounded like a jet engine taking off. Like, I've repeated the bit, but like, this is the only way to explain that. So I was the fool because I missed out on Spider-Man 2018, God of War 2018, Uncharted 4, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us 2. Depending on who you ask, and so many other exclusives. When I finally got my PS4, that was cool because now I could play all these games I missed out on for the first time, with the console delivering at 4K and 60 FPS. Had that not been the case, there would literally be no point in me buying this, as I have a computer more powerful than these consoles. Yeah, I know, that was the fucking most nerdiest shit I think I could ever say. Okay, I'm gonna walk off the building. Okay, I'm gonna walk off it right now. We're almost 4 years into PS5's life cycle, and still half of their PSN users are using the PS4. And can you blame them when Sony is offering 13 exclusives to the PS5, and so far 2 of them isn't even out yet? Not to mention that Sony has been unloading games onto the Steam store anyway, with Ghost of Tsushima being one of the latest, but others like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok soon to come. And you know what? Here's all of them. Even the big Helldivers 2 launched on PC and PlayStation on day one. This is one of the few wins for consumers, I think. It's great that there are different outlets to play these games. If I didn't buy a PS5, I'm not missing out that much because I can buy the game a year or 2 after the release. And in terms of Xbox, I don't think they've ever given a fuck about not putting their games on PC day one, especially with the Game Pass that can be transferred between both the Xbox console and the PC. So we know console wars are becoming increasingly pointless between Sony and Microsoft. We have to ignore you. You're your own separate waste of money for kids that were hit as a child. Games are now cross-play. There's also Discord integration for voice chat. Everything that used to be a barrier to divide players has now been opened up. You don't need to collectively all get an Xbox to play with 2 friends who have an Xbox, or vice versa, because what is becoming increasingly more important is the games and these services these companies can provide. The live service model has been gaining popularity for numerous years now, and I'm its biggest hater, but that doesn't mean it's going anywhere. Microsoft has never made a profit from the sale of their consoles, but yet their revenue comes from games and the services they provide, and that's why we've seen such a huge push towards the Game Pass for Xbox, and no innovation from a hardware point of view. Phil Spencer even admitted this year that Microsoft had lost the console war, and had been on a rampage acquiring studios, which has seen them get Activision Blizzard, along with Bethesda, in a way to promote more sales of the Xbox Game Pass. And this creates an entirely separate issue, threatening the future of physical media. With such services being great steals for people, does that mean we're heading towards a system where we no longer own the games that we play? And don't get me wrong, the Game Pass is great, it's great value, and it's been a great addition to the PC market also. I even argue that Game Pass has saved me money because I didn't have to buy that fucking stupid Halo campaign to play it, because I could just use my free month on Game Pass.
I'm giving it away.
And I did the same for Gears 5.
So, you girls in Gear College? Or...
Are you guys here for uni then?
Oh yeah, and I definitely did it when Back 4 Blood came out. And with the acquisition of all these studios, it means that there are some good games coming to Game Pass, which saves me money, like Starfield, which I bought for something like 90 quid on Steam to play it early, so that I could make a video on it, and it flopped harder.
You fucking still going on about that?
You know what, actually? What is Microsoft actually doing? They just axed like 4 studios, and one of them was the people that made Hi-Fi Rush. And their reasoning for this is that they want to further invest in the Bethesda portfolio of blockbuster games.
And the game of the year.
You shitting me? Do I have to redo this entire video to talk about Microsoft? Is that what I gotta do now?
Microsoft still sucks. They will always suck. Don't get comfortable with companies. They don't love you.
Okay, so Microsoft doesn't give a fuck about the consoles anymore. We know that. And it seems they don't even give a fuck about their own company. They got the Game Pass, they're hoovering up the studios, and they're gonna sell it to you that way. Okay, so why is that bad for me? The little guy, the 9-to-5 shelf stacker, who just wants to go home and play with my little box for a few hours. Well, that's because it creates a monopoly, where only one company is now dominating the console market. Sure, there's a kid with one of those spinny hats things telling me, Nintendo, but Todd, will you do me the honors?
No! And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
They're in their own realm, making their own first-party shit that no one is ever going to be able to touch. Microsoft and Sony were real competitors, and now that Microsoft is taking the back seat, it means that no one is there to push Sony to make better things and bring more value to us. Have you guys seen the price for PlayStation Plus? It's a fucking joke. Yo, Jamie, pull this up real quick. $6.99 a month so I can go online and get random games like SpongeBob fucking Cosmic Shake.
What the hell is that?
That is very gay. That's what that is.
And where's the Game Pass killer? Here it is, $10.99 a month for a game catalogue and Ubisoft classics, which doesn't do the day one thing like Xbox with the exclusives, and it's happy to remove games from the catalogue whenever. PlayStation have already hiked up the prices of PlayStation Plus. I remember it used to be like $40 a year for online, and now it's $60. But what are you actually gonna do? Go play Xbox, where they have no games? No, you're gonna play your 5th remaster of The Last of Us, like a good little boy. Xbox has already begun porting games over to PlayStation as well. Recently, Sea of Thieves, how generous of you, Microsoft. And Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, and this other game I've never heard of. And who's not to say that Halo doesn't make its way there in the future, or the Gears of War games, but not Starfield. They've actually explicitly said that that won't be happening because it would be too embarrassing to not sell a single copy of Todd Howard's 9/11. Xbox's downing tools and lack of exclusivity may have been met with cheers 10 years ago, allowing us all to access many of their titles, but in 2024, I think it threatens the experience we'll all get with whatever the next console is to come, especially if there's simply no one there to push Sony to do better and improve on themselves. The PS4 was a resounding success and was the better console than the Xbox One, and that's because they had to. The 360 had breathed down the PS3's neck. With no one there to fill that void, we're just going to continually get shafted by these big corporations. And it's sad because these boxes mean a lot to me. They've shaped me as a person, allowed me to create so many memories with friends, both when I was a little kid playing split screen with my brother, or people that had come around the house, or even when I was a teenager in high school on Xbox Live playing Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare and FIFAs and so on. I've owned both Sony and Xbox consoles, and at many points they were at the top of my Christmas list every year growing up. To see the competition fizz out the way it has is incredibly sad, not just for our wallets and our experience, but as a fan. So congratulations, Sony, you've won the console battle, but it is us who have ultimately lost the war.
Cool. Big planet. Wow, that's brilliant.